Everybody, if it's not, there we go. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. Oh, when the saints go marching in, when the saints go marching in, oh Lord, I want to be in that number. When the saints go marching in, oh, when the sun refused to shine, when the sun refused to shine, I want to be in that number. The saints go marching. Play it, Johnny. When the saints go marching in, oh Lord, I want to be in that number. When the saints go marching in, oh, when the trumpet sounds its call, when the trumpet sounds its call, Lord, I want to be in that number. When the saints go marching in, oh, when the saints go marching in, oh, when the saints go marching in, oh, Lord, I want to be in that number. When the saints go marching, one more time, oh, when the saints marching in, when the saints go marching in, Lord, I want to be in that number. When the saints go marching in. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. Feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are working to be free. Are working to be free. Are working to be free. Hate and love, jealousy. We are working to take it, Richard. our every need. We can feed our every need. And love is our need. We can feed our every need. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. Peace and freedom is our cry. In our blood, this world will die. Peace and freedom is our cry. Sing along with us. We are building a new way. Building a new way. We are building a new way. Feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. All right. The adoring audience. Yeah. All right, we shall not be moved. So normally, if you feel like standing, clapping, dancing around the sanctuary, there's plenty of room. You won't run into anybody, so please do so. So here we go. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Like a tree that stands beside the water. We shall not be moved. No, 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 move around. No, 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 move around. In that valley, no, 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 move around. In that lucha, no, no, move around. In that lucha, no, no, move around. United in our struggle, we shall not be moved. United in our struggle, we shall not be moved. Like a tree that stands beside the water, we shall not be. Come on and join us in singing. No, 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 move around. No, 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 move around. No, 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 move around. In our struggle, we shall not be moved. United in our struggle, we shall not be moved. Like a tree that stands beside the water, we shall not. Let's all sing. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved. Just like a tree that stands beside the water, we shall not. 4-chord moon. Thank you very much, everybody.
I'm grateful to have this morning Congregational President Barbara North to welcome you and give reminders. Hello. Just taking a moment to switch hats. Joyful Notes hat off. As I've just been introduced, my name is Barbara North, and I am currently serving as the president of your Board of Trustees. Thanks. I'm here to welcome you to church today. We are an intentionally multi-generational, multiracial, multicultural, inclusive, and anti-oppressive religious community. You are welcome here. Before we begin our worship service, I have a few announcements. These are also available in this week's Chalice Chatter. Do you have questions and concerns about some of the races in the June 7th primary election? I know I do. If you want to learn more about them, join the discussion this evening from 7:30 to 8:30 p.m. that Ron Weisberg will moderate on Zoom. Contact Ron at poetry@uuoakland.org for more information, or follow the meeting link in this past week's Chalice Chatter. It's time to get out of those pews. Not exactly at this minute, but after worship on Sunday, June 5th, we will have an all-church picnic just down the street in Lowell Park. There will be family fun activities, and it will be BYO and everything. Remember to stop by the church plaza for a celebratory cupcake in honor of the coming-of-age youth on your way to the park after service that day. Finally, you've been hearing about it, and today registration opens for the Women's Retreat, which is at Redwood Glen in Loma Mar on the weekend of July 15th through the 17th. The theme is reunion and renewal, and anyone who identifies as a woman, girl, or non-binary person is welcome, as are boys under the age of 6. Register at Coffee Hour in Wenty Hall, at the church picnic, or on the church website anytime by June 30th, that's 30. Contact Women's Retreat at uuoakland.org for more information. Thank you, and welcome to church. Thank you so much, Barbara. Next, we will light our congregational chalice. These are words that may be familiar to you. We have motions, so if you'd like to learn those, watch around you and see. We light this chalice, symbol of Unitarian Universalism. May it remind us of the divine spark in all of creation, the power of love to heal what is broken, and to be grateful for life's blessings each day. And now, our Black Lives Matter candle. We light this candle today as a witness that represents the unquenchable fire for justice for Black people that burns in our hearts and guides our actions as a congregation. Together we say, Black Lives Matter. One more time, Black Lives Matter. Thank you, friends. Today, for the peace candle, I offer you a story called The Memory Tree. As we hold our grief as a community, as a city, as a state, as a nation, today we will practice grieving together. This story gives us some context of why we would say victims' names, why we would practice our grief, and why we would reach out to one another in this way. Please watch. Memory Tree by Britta Takentrup, in memory of Anna Hertrick. There was once a fox who lived with all the other animals in the forest. Fox had lived a long and happy life, but now he was tired. Very slowly, Fox made his way to his favorite spot in the clearing. He looked at his beloved forest one last time. He lay down. Fox closed his eyes, took a deep breath, and fell asleep forever. Everything around Fox was still and peaceful. Snow began to fall. gently covering him with a soft blanket. Owl had watched Fox from the top of his tree. He flew down and landed next to his friend. Owl was very sad. He had known Fox for a long time, but Owl knew the time had come for his friend to leave. One by one, Fox's friends came to the clearing. Squirrel and weasel, then bear, deer, and bird, and finally rabbit, mouse, and others came to sit by Fox. Owl was the first to speak. He smiled warmly. "I remember when Fox and I were very young," he said. "Every autumn, Fox and I would race to see who could catch more falling leaves." The other animals remembered and smiled. Mouse said, "I remember how much Fox loved the sunset. He always sat in this exact spot." The animals remembered. Many of them had joined Fox watching the sunset. It was a very happy memory, and their hearts that were sad filled with warmth. Bear remembered how Fox had looked after her cubs one spring. Rabbit smiled at the story of how Fox had played tag with her in the tall grass. Squirrel had talked about Fox helping him find nuts in the deep snow last winter. One by one, the animals remembered new favorite stories about Fox. Fox had touched the lives of all the animals in the forest with his warmth and kindness, and they all smiled, remembering. While the animals talked, a little orange plant grew out of the ground where Fox was lying. Small and delicate at first, and hardly noticeable, the plant grew bigger, stronger, and more beautiful with every story. The animals talked all through the night about their friend Fox, and in the morning, the little plant had grown into a tree. The animals saw the tree and knew that Fox was still a part of their lives. During the next days, weeks, and months, the animals remembered many more stories about Fox. Their heavy hearts began to feel lighter. The more they remembered, the more the tree grew higher and higher until it was the tallest tree in the forest. A tree made from memories and love. Fox's tree was big and strong enough to shelter all the animals. It was always buzzing with life. The birds built their nests among the leaves, and Owl raised his grandchicks in the branches. Squirrel found a cozy home in the trunk, and bear, deer, and rabbit slept in the tree's shade. The tree gave strength to everyone who had loved Fox, and so Fox lived in their hearts forever. In just a moment, we will read the names of the victims of the Robb Elementary School shooting in Uvalde, Texas. I invite you to feel your chair holding you up. I invite you to feel the weight of your head, your abdomen, your feet. Remember, we are together, and this moment is for you. No matter what you're feeling in this moment, one of the things these names provide is a connection to our purpose and mission as a congregation. Let's begin. Nevaeh Bravo, age 10. Jacqueline Casares, age 9. McKenna Lee Elrod, age 10. Jose Flores, age 10. Ellie Garcia, age 9. Irma Garcia, age 48. Uzia Garcia, age 8. Amory Jo Garcia, age 10. Xavier Lopez, age 10. Jace Luevanos, age 10. Tess Mata, age 10. Miranda Mathis, age 11. Eva Mireles, age 44. Alethea Ramirez, age 10. Annabelle Rodriguez, age 10. Maite Rodriguez, age 10. Alexandria Lexi Rubio, age 10. Layla Salazar, age 10. Jayla Nicole Siguero, age 10. Eliana Cruz Torres, age 10. Rogelio Torres, age 10. Joe Garcia, husband of Irma, age 50. Let's sit one moment together. And now we will have our call to worship.
Thank you, Pastor Ninán, for those names and that ceremony. Today's call to worship reading is from Amina Shakur, who is a queer, crip, sick, mad, fat, multiracial, multicultural artist, historian, cultural critic, editor, and poet based in the Midwest. Their scholarship focuses on issues of accessibility in art spaces and the ethics of representation of disability and queerness in art and popular culture. Even in times of grief, there is work to be done. For there is always something or someone to grieve. That process is always processing, flowing through me, never ending. And then there is another, and another, and another to begin to grieve again. So, while I grieve, I choose the work of hope, a conscious decision to make a practice of building something new, and dreaming something different is still possible. So these losses are not all there ever is. I know we can be better. I have seen a better world, and it is incredibly beautiful. And in one voice, the people say, "Come, let us worship together." And we will now sing, join in. If you have the words at home or in front of you on the screen, may nothing evil cross this door.
May nothing evil cross this door, and may your fortune never These words today are from Abigail Bengtson, well, just wait a second. Half of the musical team, the Bengtsons. She shared these in her grief, and I asked if I could share with you, and she said yes. Abigail says, "I'm just so sorry. There's grief, and then more grief, and then more. But the grief is holy. And in a culture that encourages our collective amnesia and then requires it as a means of survival, grief is a well of memory that keeps us human and alive. So we grieve and are blessed to grieve. Depression, that terrible stagnation of rage and shame, is not grief. It's the body in a state of arrest, unable to grieve the way it needs to keep you alive. I am grateful for your grieving. Every drop of grief work you do, every tear you shed, waters the heart of the earth. Every drop that will water the food for our children instead of becoming a burden they have to carry that gets heavier with each generation. Grief work is a gift you give to your kids and your ancestors, to the planet, and to your own wildly and perfectly made soul. Sometimes I think your spirit goes looking for you and uses your tears as the tracks in the dark woods to find you. Let them flow. I'm weeping beside you." We're so grateful to have Alan Yip with us to play Chinese classical music. It's been a long time since Alan has been with us in person, but his music and our experience of Chinese classical music is so beautiful. I'm so grateful. I'm especially grateful that we can have this music to soothe our hearts today. Welcome and thank you, Alan. The first song is Parting at Yangguan Gate on the Guqin. So wonderful. Yeah. In a moment, Barbara will come and give you an invitation, but also, please welcome the Reverend Deborah Hafner this morning. Good morning, Reverend Deborah. Good.
Wise King Solomon is credited with saying that a sweet friendship refreshes the soul. In this community, we seek to tend our spirits along with building friendships. Please turn to your neighbors and greet them this morning, offering a moment of friendship that we may refresh one another's souls. Please keep in mind, it is always a good idea to have consent from people before engaging in physical touch, but given that we are an ongoing global pandemic, we do request that you be mindful of space and people who do not want to be touched at this time. Good morning, congregation, and let us greet one another.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you. Good morning. I'm going to be all loud. I'm going to be all loud. Good morning. Yeah. How have you been? Good to see you. Yeah. so we can continue with beautiful music. A special note that I want to offer is that May has been Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And so one of the ways that we have celebrated previously is to have Alan share special specific music. And we're really grateful for that. But as events happen, we also turn to the larger world and its need. And we know for sure that each person that we know and care about includes Asian people who are also affected by people who practice hate rather than love. So as we consider heritage, as we consider culture and beauty, please keep that in your heart. We continue with Flowing Water on the Guqin. Thank you, Alan. Did you hear the flowing water in that one? So good, huh? Well, now's the time in our service when we share with one another the joys and sorrows on our hearts. So I'll invite you in just a moment to just speak a word or two in this space. I won't be able to hear everything up here, but the people around you are listening, and we are holding one another. Then we will close with a few words that you'll see on the screen. Let's begin. What's on your heart today? Congratulations, I heard that one, yep. India Miller Morton graduated from high school, so definite congratulations there. And also, Linda Jo Morton graduated from a graduate program, so double congratulations in the family. Let's go ahead and close with the words you'll see on the screen. We'll repeat together, we hold them in our care. Let's do that. We hold them in our care. Now we'll sing Spirit of Life. And first in English and then in Spanish. Spirits of Let me just tell you quickly, it was such a huge invitation to Unitarian Universalism for me. So when you sing it, it might be that for someone near you. Let's do the Spanish. Fuente de amor, ven hacia mí, y al corazón, cántale tu compasión, sopla volar, sube en la mar, hasta moldear la justicia de la vida. Aray, amén, libre Will you join me now in a moment of quiet contemplation, prayer, and meditation? May the care and support we find in the everlasting arms of this church community give us comfort amid our sorrows, fears, and concerns. And when it feels like the world is utterly broken, may the power that makes all things new remind us how often that feeling signals that a new world is just beginning. And may the spirit of love that lives in, with, and among us give us the courage to reshape and reform our lives, our congregations, and our governments, so that they are not serving just comfort or privilege or habit, but our dearest, truest, deepest purpose. For all these things we give thanks and say, Amen. Now, Alan joins us with an erhu solo, The Moon Reflected Upon Lake Urquhart. Are you going to be listening for the moon? I sure am. Really great. One of the things that's true about Unitarian Universalists is that you, are a very educated bunch. Have you heard that before? Yeah. So one of the things that's true today is that information is probably not something we need to prioritize in order to take care of each other. Does that make sense? There's something that you learned to do a long time ago, probably. No shade. It's across the street. And that's what we're going to talk about today when we talk about what to do with grief. What to do when we're going to a place, a peaceful world, a just existence with one another, for which we don't quite have the map. So, the first thing you do when you're going to cross the street, or encounter a grief, or create a new world, is stop. We stop. We stop together and say, this is the thing that we are holding. This is the weight. This is the dream. This is the possibility. But you know what's true? Not everyone has equal ability to attend to their grief. You're busy. You're responsible. You're implicated in the goings-on of everyday life. Theresa Ninán says that's one of the most insidious things about the pandemic. But, and you may have already tried some of these, she says when you can't stop, one of the things you can do is learn something new. Have you heard of any people learning new things in pandemic? I've been practicing German for 2 years. I can tell you, the bear is strong, the beer is weak. Let me see if I can do it. Der Bär ist stark, is that it? The bear is strong, das Bier ist schlecht. Terrible? Something like that. Anyway, you can see I need to do more lessons. I should have written it in my notes, then I wouldn't have been nervous. But that's what I did. That's what other people can do too. Trying new things, learning new things. Part of the reason this helps is that grief can feel like abandonment, and that can feel isolating. When I wanted to hear from an artist, a person about this, I found a poem called Inarticulate Grief. And I'm gonna pause and say, I was dictating it, and Siri wrote it as Tequila Grief, which is silly but also helpful because I'm gonna put a side note here. If the stress of your grief, of your isolation, is having you use substances in ways that you know are not feeling good for you, are not your healthiest, reach out for help. You don't have to have tequila grief. So that's just a reminder that Siri brought us today. Here's the poem, Inarticulate Grief by Richard Adlington. It has a lot of sensory images in it, which is one of the reasons I wanted to share it with you. Let the sea beat its thin, torn hands in anguish against the shore. Let it moan between headland and cliff. Let the sea shriek out its agony across waste sands and marshes and clutch great ships, tearing them plate from steel plate in reckless anger. Let it break the white bulwarks of harbor and city. Let it sob and scream and laugh in sharp fury with white tears wet on its writhen face. Ah, Let the sea still be mad and crash in madness among the shaking rocks, for the sea is the cry of our sorrow. So first, when you cross a street, when you make a world, you stop. The next thing you do is pay attention. Are there any cars coming? How is your grief doing? If you can find a moment to sit still, wherever you are, stay there and enjoy doing nothing. You know, our friend, the Zen master, Thich Nhat Hanh, reminds us, just enjoy your in-breath and your out-breath. Don't allow yourself to be carried away by your thinking, worries, or projects. Just sit and enjoy doing nothing, enjoy your breathing, and the fact that you are alive and that you have 20 minutes or half an hour to enjoy doing nothing. This is very healing, transforming, and nourishing. Sometimes you might not have 20 minutes, but you have the minutes here. And one of the things I'm going to add is that it's really important for you not to allow yourself to feel bad when you can't slow down too much. That just makes it worse, right? So, the ability to pay attention. What's the third thing? You stop, you pay attention, you engage. You might listen, you might sing. But one of the things we'll do today is this advice from the Brooklyn Hospice. Own your grief. Don't allow anyone to dictate how you should or should not grieve, especially multiple losses. So as I thought about what I would share with you, the very most important thing, this is why it clusters around these ideas. We have not only communal grief, but cumulative grief, one on top of another. Don't compare your grieving style or expression with someone else's. You're unique, therefore your grief will be unique to your personality and coping style. Let's talk then about coping styles. You might have seen this in the email, if you got a chance to read it, that I sent about the content of the service. This is from Reverend Tracy Blackman. She says, contrary to popular praxis, by which she just means the actions you choose, neither grief nor trauma move on because another tragedy occurs. There is no hierarchy based on age or race or volume or location. We must not let the ease with which headlines and social media change become our barometer for sorrow. Grief is compounded by each tragedy, not diminished. And shifting from tragedy to tragedy prevents us from coalescing around the underlying cause. Until we decide not to move on, until we decide to hold it all, we will not amass the collective rage needed to effect change. There's a lot there, right? But part of it is this. It's a lot. And you're not wrong when you feel tired, worn out, overwhelmed. You're not wrong when you need support. One of the things that Thich Nhat Hanh calls us to in the moments of grief, of heaviness, is to listen, to engage, but to engage with the silence. Here's what he says. You stop, you breathe, and you still your mind. You come home to yourself so that you can enjoy the here and now in every moment. All the wonders of life are already here. underneath, around, between, among the terrible things. They're calling you. If you can listen to them, you will be able to stop running. What you need, what we all need, is silence. Stop the noise in your mind in order for the wondrous sounds of life to be heard. Then you can begin, or in your case, continue, to live your life authentically and deeply. The very last thing that you need to do before you cross the street. Are you ready for it? It's wait. You wait until you're good to go, and then you don't do like me in driver's ed, right? You want to hear what my teacher Ricardo would say? He would say, you must look left, you must look right, and then you must execute. But I would look left, I would look left, I would look right, then I would look left some more, and then I would look right some more. It was a lot. And that's okay, right? That was information. In order to see the change we want to see in the world, we are going to have to plan, train, recover, connect, and then we will continue. It's a lot. It's a lot to start from a place where there is no sign of yes. And not only plant a yes, but water the yes. Make sure the yes gets enough sun, pick off the bugs, and make sure it blooms. Right? One last invitation for Thich Nhat Hanh today. He says, to be mindful is to be fully present with whatever we are doing. If you are drinking tea, just drink your tea. In this moment of waiting until you know the direction that your heart wants you to take, you must also make time to drink your tea. Do not drink your worries, your projects, your regrets. When you hold your cup, you may like to breathe in, to bring your mind back to your body. Stop thinking and become fully present. Not too long ago, I read a story about a person who said to her friends, was anyone going to tell me? Was anyone going to tell me that you're supposed to heat the water before you put the tea bag in? It tastes way different. And they said, wait, what? You've been putting it in cold water this whole time? And she said, yeah, I didn't know. Fully present. What's fully possible? The truth is, we don't even know yet. The truth is, the utterly beautiful world that we can see in glimpses is still waiting for us. We don't know what's fully possible until we're fully present and fully engaged. In that moment, you become real, and the cup of tea becomes real. In this state of true presence and freedom, you enjoy simply drinking your tea. So, whether you're crossing the street, encountering your grief again, hello grief, I see you, or building a new world, you stop, you pay attention, you engage, and you wait. I love you. In just a moment, we'll be able to invite the ushers forward. What they will invite us to do is practice generosity. We call this an invitation to generosity because of that moment of drinking tea. We don't even know what's possible until we're present to the moment, until we engage in that possibility. To you, much has been given. Please share according to your ability and your joy. Ushers, will you please come forward? Thank you. I have another one, but thank you for doing that. Appreciate it. There's a number on the screen. It was up there for a little bit. It is the number you can give by text. So there it is. It's 510, and then some more numbers that I'm going to look at on my screen because I have middle-aged eyes. I'm going to read it to you for just a second. Here we go. 510-880-1726. Once you text that number, it'll go through setting it up with you, and you'll be able to give by text anytime you want. It's pretty easy. And you get a confirmation as well. So these are the words of blessing we say each week. Will you join me? Go to the church, which is weaving a tapestry of love we call community. We dedicate ourselves, and these are offerings. Thank you, friends, for your practice of generosity. We'll close today with a melody on the jasmine flower, Mo Li Hua. And as the music concludes, I invite you to go in peace and return in joy. Us this week. Please return again.